Коллеги, всем привет! Мы продолжаем наш CISO-трек. На текущий момент у нас запускается дискуссия.
Now we are talking about technologies and leadership. This is our kind of roundtable discussion. So the discussion of the role, who is the CISO or CISO. So and this will be moderated by Anna Ponyukova. Anna, the floor is yours. Thank you, Vita. My name is Anna, and I represent, well, let me introduce our panel members. We have Kirin Ilyin from CISO Itelma, Anastasia Serebrikova, HR Director of Sberauto, Yaroslav Rajev, Head of Corporate University of Simple Group, and Dmitry Nadyonov, CTO of CIS7. And with us we have Viktor Gordiev, CISO of Positive Technologies. Okay, great. Thanks for coming. And today we have this non-trivial kind of topic, who is the CISO of today. And, well, I've been in the field of developing leadership competences and skills for quite some time. And I would say that for the C-level guys, every kind of year, some large companies publish some reports in terms of the competences which will be on demand for the next 5 years. Which competences will be important for the CEOs, CFOs, and so on. Last year, when I joined Positive and started looking at the competences on demand for the InfoSec directors, I was quite surprised because I had a lot of technical things, so many technical competences technical directors should have, but I didn't see something like leadership in InfoSec or management in InfoSec. Do we need competences like that or not? So this is what I'd like to discuss with you today. This is a free-flow discussion, so if you want, just start talking. Here is my first question. Okay, the CISO and the CTO. So, guys, what brought you here? What are the competences which helped you become the CISO, become the heads of info security teams in your companies? Okay, let me come first. Okay, what brought me here? Well, I was both greedy and lucky, most likely. Well, before the CISO position, I was head of a SOC in an international company. We protected things globally. On every continent, we had some factories to protect. With time, I kind of wanted less of this. I wanted to go deeper into the methodology, just to kind of streamline the SOC processes at the level of company, how to go through the architecture and the risks. In the company, we paid a lot of attention to developing the management skills. So we had trainings like that. Who is a leader, how to become a leader, how to lead a team, and so on and so forth. So this kind of greed of covering more processes and managing more processes and the managerial skills, they kind of caused some luck when they invited me to become the CISO of Positive. And I said, okay, that's great. That's what brought me here. Thank you, Vita, Kirill, Dmitry. I think this was a straightforward answer. Well, you know, the journey to the CISO position is not that straight. So you start small, you start developing, you understand that all the processes are interconnected, so there is crosstalk between them, and you start somehow diving deeper into them. Then you become knowledge thirsty. You want to establish control everywhere. As by the way, we discussed it. We talked about the professional burnout. Psychologists say that CISO guys, somewhere in their childhood or at some other kind of stage, they could have some kind of lack control, and now they're trying to build it everywhere. That's what psychologists think. Yeah, I had a similar situation when I was head of kind of directorate. I didn't like it that there was no control. The perimeter had no control. You ask people, so why you have 219 open IP addresses? And they say, well, that's convenient. And you understand that you should start building control. You should help the company. Then you understand that you are kind of developing things. You start talking to business apart from your hard skills and apart from the large technical background, which lets you talk to the IT guys openly and trustworthily. You should talk to business guys, but business is not about IT. They don't understand you. What kind of a strange animal are you? Why are they talking this nonsense to us? And this kind of journey was built, well, thanks to luck. And as Vita put it, your leadership, well, qualities, they should be there. You should be such that you lead people into change and you are followed. So you need hard skills and you also need soft skills. And when you move to this position, the soft skills should be prevailing. They should support you in communicating well with businesses, communicating the ideas to them, and to build communication properly, because this is important, and that's what brought me here. Okay, thank you, Vadim. Follow-up, yeah, being greedy, being lucky, and foolhardy, yeah, in a way. 15 years ago, I joined VTB. I was assistant to the InfoSec head in one of the subsidiaries of VTB. So what did I know? Well, I just knew a fraction of all was a kind of volume of ISS and processes built around the CISO. Okay, foolhardy, because I joined this, because I said I was in. And you should be kind of brave as a CISO. You should take responsibility. And at that time, I kind of took responsibility. I said, yeah, I can push it. And I started kind of digging deeper. With my team, I was getting better. Well, do I need the technical subtleties of CISO? Well, I'm not sure about that. CISO should understand that this is possible, and we have technical constraints, we have team constraints. You, as InfoSec guys, have something planned, but IT guys don't have resources for you. And this interface between the technical capacity and having resources lets you kind of say that, yes, we commit, we will do this, we'll deliver. But you all understand, don't you, that for the InfoSec guy and for any kind of big boss, it's not a problem to come up with a long list of tasks, but the manager should say, okay, all the other tasks will be postponed apart from the top 3 priorities. That's the first thing. Soft skills are much more important than the technical skills, because the CISO should understand that this is technically possible, we have resources for this, and then they should convey this idea in a good way with the team, in a technically clear way, and then sell it to the leadership without any technical language. And the second thing is much more important, because the leadership would be the ones to provide resources for this, including money and human capacity. That's why I would say that, well, for me, what brought me here? Well, I had some understanding that I should take responsibility for the security of the company and for my personal development. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, from the HR perspective. Well, we are not an IT company, so if you ask us what's your assessment, how do you promote salespeople, then I would give you a lecture, an hour-long lecture. But we have some IT guys, and they have a growth part. Well, we at HR guys have some issues in terms of testing their hard skills, and here we are kind of following the IT leaders who develop their successors for their leading positions. But for about 2 years, we went through some kind of research centers to understand which soft skills help IT leaders become successful, which prevent them from becoming leaders. And we found three really important things. And now we use them when we assess our guys, when we pick candidates for the next role. The first is team management. And we understand not only the management of the team, so we are talking about a large kind of functional interaction. We are also talking about managing people who don't report to you administratively, but you should somehow build the task in such a way, you should somehow describe the track in such a way that they do it. The second competence often overlooked, and that's what our IT teams have in the red zone, would be leadership communications. We are a private company, and, well, the CISO should be able to explain it to the bosses and the sales teams, to the owner and to the shareholder, the complexity of the situation and how to resolve all that so that they understand it in plain language, so that they provide finance, people, and let it happen. And the third thing was mentioned by my colleagues before, that's about decision-making. A good manager is there to make choices, sometimes painful choices, and to take decisions. So these three competences now are a must for someone pretending to get to the leadership position. Okay, thank you, Yaroslav. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Yaroslav. You mentioned very good competences. I'd like to say that for the CISO position, at some time, I would say that hard skills they become kind of 30% of what he or she should do. Well, you have a team understanding what should be done, and the CISO has the knowledge, that's fine. But the soft skills are the ones to help you speak the same language with the business guys. They will help the company develop. And this is extremely important today, isn't it? An off-top comment. I remember we had a managerial meeting, and Kirill would shift to his language sometimes, which was impossible to be understood for the top managers, because only he had the hard skills. He was the only one having this treasure trove of knowledge, and he was the only one understanding this.
Ну, если бы я технически разбирался,
Well, if I technically understood all the things like architecture, methodology, and risks, well, then nothing would be done in the company because I would tell everybody what to do.
и я, кстати, в начале, ну,
By the way,
я же не из инженеров,
well, I went through this managerial journey. I was engineer, then head of department, and at some stages I had some mistakes like that. I tried to teach everyone what to do, and then with time, I kind of understood that well, yeah, you should let people make their own mistakes. They will
гораздо лучше, чем ты, если
do the job better than you will,
определенный этап надо.
and so you should go through this stage, I would say.
Что касается как бы технических навыков,
Talking about the customer, or the technical skills or hard skills I have, well, I still remember something from my engineer background. I can write correlation rules pretty well, by the way.
да,
Yeah,
без работы
point taken. Yeah, it means that I will have something to do on the job market. I have some hobbies. I like looking into attacks. I build some B shell, reverse shell. I go around antiviruses, but these are my hobbies. I do it in my personal time.
но ни в коем случае как бы технически.
But, well, I don't go into this deeply technically. I am not telling people what to do. I can tell them, have you looked at this? Have you done that? Because, I kind of care.
Но большую часть как бы работы я свожу.
But most of my job would be discussing things, meeting product teams, kind of look at
Продукт, чтобы они
expertise sharing
у топ
to improve the products. I look at the risks of top managers. I see where InfoSec can help
да, и
others. And so this is about communications and dealing with some global tasks related to the vision of the company. Okay, thank you. The HR opinion. Let me add a few words to this. You mentioned a very good thing, that it depends on the maturity level for the company and the kind of force of the team. So I remember that we, CISOs, we should support the owner personally. Like, you cannot forget the technical things altogether, because when the owner calls you saying, okay, there are some bad things happening in the Telegram, you should find a solution quite quickly, or should understand who should deal with the problem. Because if you show that you are technically incompetent, then the CEO will have questions to you. Are you kind of properly holding your position? So you cannot say that this is 0 or 10%. No. But for now, so at our maturity level, the CISO, I would say, would have this 50-50 split. But the bigger the team, the more experts you have in your team. So we had this discussion. You shouldn't convert the CISO into a magic wand for everyone, because otherwise you will not have time for kind of managing this big process. Otherwise, you'll be running around helping everyone properly setting up the antivirus or two-factor authentication. So you should understand when you should let it go and start using your team so that they solve the problems emerging. And off top, if I may. Well, I would ask the question differently. Well, Nastya saw how I was developing through my career track, and I would ask you a different question. So, who is a CISO for you? Just if you kind of forget about my example, it's not easy to do. Okay, who is a CISO for you? Okay, I think I had a clear understanding of this when we started to look for a replacement for you. Yeah, I've been always confident that we'll work together for a long time, and I knew that it would be really difficult to find a replacement because these soft skills, they were extremely important to me. For me, a CISO is, who can solve any difficult problem, not only related to the hard skills. Say, as you put it, Yaroslav, the owner calls you saying there are some problems with Telegram, because my team and I, we did it. We asked Kirill to solve different problems, because Kirill was not only responsible for CISO, he was also responsible for internal security, and he grew pretty well in his role. He was head of department of overall security. So that's why people asked him different questions, but at some time we started kind of segregating this. Well, Kirill cannot be responsible for all kind of questions. He can be responsible for some specific things. Yeah, I started filtering that myself. Yes, some people were sent to the blacklist. Yeah, joking. Well, talking about your career track, the way I saw it, and okay, who is a CISO for me? This CISO should be capable of solving all the problems. Not necessarily he's going to do it, because he should have the opinion and be able to say no. He should have a strong position for the company. So if a CISO comes, people should kind of try to hide away, because sometimes you need it, depending on the kind of environment. So in the IT field, so we understand sometimes there are things where you kind of shouldn't be too kind of bossy, but there are some other guys, and you should kind of motivate them. They should understand who you are. Yeah, and for me, a CISO is someone who has all these competences, and the hard skills are still important, but I would say they're secondary. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for the question. We had some anecdotes we had some stories of developing your team, delegation, that a CISO should communicate more at other levels and build cross-functional kind of interaction. So how do you build your teams, and how do you retain your staff? We understand that we have a lack of staff in the field, and please don't go too much into detail on this problem, but please tell us how do you deal with the teams you have now? How do you develop them? How do you upskill them? So you mentioned that you delegate, will let them fail. What are the other things you do? How do you develop these guys?
Паспорта забираем.
Okay, we understand that you have some kind of sticks and carrots, but let's talk about some specific things. Okay, you should be engaged with the universities where you have students focused on InfoSec. Unfortunately, the level of these guys educated by colleges or universities is not that good, and I just want to get access to the students. And I said, I went to one university and said, give me year 3 and 4 students. And I was told, no, these guys are already employed. Go and speak to year 1 and 2 students, because they are not employed yet. Okay, I taught there for a year, and I understood that students want to be hackers, forensics guys, they want to be OSINT experts, and other guys who like drinking smoothies, but they don't want to be administrators of the ISS. They don't want to deal with some red check or Mac Patrol, CM or VM. They're not interested in this. This is not trendy anymore. I had 2 groups, 85 guys, more or less. Nobody wanted to admin. Well, I was telling them, you will become friends with Kaspersky, for instance. No, they wanted to be cyber intelligence guys. Well, those who graduate from universities, they don't want to do routine things, but they want to make a lot of money, and they want to deal with machine learning, for instance, in info security. So this would be 120,000 rubles, and I don't know anything. Please teach me, please train me, but no routine, no kind of boring stuff. Okay, we deal with colleges and universities. universities. 2 months ago, we launched a track. So we support and we upskill the special military operation veterans. We gave them some knowledge on line 1 in the SOC, compliance, mentioned vulnerabilities. We talked about the ISS, and so people kind of make leapfrog progress, and this is pretty good. So we understand this. These guys, they kind of. So we are talking about kind of the fifth theater of the military activity. That's where we are, but we are on the defense, and so we have some credits of this program. So this will be our staff. They can do some routine stuff, and for them this is obvious and clear. They understand. Okay, they know what discipline is about. Well, I spent 16 years in the armed forces. I'm a retired major, so I speak the same language with this type of guys. So how to find them? Yeah, we can find them in students, and another big cluster would be of these experts coming from the military operation. How to retain the team?
То, скорее всего, это надо проявлять внимание каждому человеку.
You've got to pay attention to every individual. When I was a CISO, I have a team in Novosibirsk, a city in Russia, and every quarter I met the team as a whole team, and then I met them individually. Yes, I only have 30 people, so I can afford meeting each of them in a week's time, but I knew the aspirations of everyone. I knew what was going on in their life, so I built a training and development track for them. And so, because the team is distributed, there's not always this feeling of closeness with others. So once a year I get together all InfoSec people and we go somewhere to Kaliningrad, to Altai. And in addition to brainstorming, we have another day of fun, some informal event that knits the team together, and it helps you later to not ignore the person when he calls you, because he's not just someone from the street, but he's the person with whom you had fun at a shared event. Also important is to mark what people did. And if the person went and did something out of the ordinary, you've got to reward them somehow. People like to be praised, so it's important to be human with people. Let me add from the HR perspective, the people who are responsible for internal development and for making teams attractive. And even though our
Но у нас есть такие несколько столпов.
CEO has a particular presentation of the culture. We have a few pillars that we try to leverage to attract experts.
У нас бывают. Это правда. И командообразующие мероприятия нам сделать.
We have team building events. It is
Но помимо этого у нас есть
easier for us to do them
интересный момент. Это то, что
because of what we are.
к проектам, которые
We are quite open to projects
людей внутри.
that
Недавно у нас
come to the minds of people of any level.
вместе с
Recently, for example, our team of developers, together with InfoSec, put together a chat bot that does wine recommendations.
Второй момент.
Had a cross-functional team to do that.
Ориентируемся на роль
Second, we acknowledge the role of the leader in history.
который является олицетворением.
In our company, there's the top leader who impersonates the company. If you
Вы придете, и что это за человек?
visit various video hosting services, you will be able to see
Важная история, чтобы наши,
who is the face of the company and
чтобы люди понимали, а с кем они будут
what
работать.
would the company look like, which you are thinking of joining.
момент тоже
And another important point,
ориентированы на выращивание людей внутри.
we are very much focused on
Особенно
growing our people inside.
ориентированы на
When people join our IT team, because we are so much focused on internal development,
действительно заявлять о своих карьерных ожиданиях.
we really give the people an opportunity to voice their career aspirations. We
То есть если ты пришел в ИБ, это не значит, что
empower people to grow their competences. And if you came to information security, it's not that you will stay there forever. You can migrate between teams and you can reach the level of CISO or the CTO and develop the competences that are needed along the way. We support the competences, the people in developing the competences, so that they didn't run to Yandex or elsewhere.
Там первое было, как найти кадры.
Okay, so
Как их удержать, да.
the first question was how to find and how to retain, right?
Повезло. У меня 3000 безопасников в компании.
I have 3,000
Все, что захочу, у меня есть.
information security people in the company.
Знаете, что классно? Вот
So
времени
I have people in any area. And
сказал. Ведь не
for the whole time that I've been with Positive Technologies, I haven't
сотруднику прийти.
experienced a situation where people turned me down. You can approach
В этом и прелесть.
a colleague, you can listen to their ideas, you can
Вот. Плюс в позитиве
learn from their experience.
есть
Also at Positive, there's an internship for young experts,
студенты, да, это могут быть,
and not necessarily students.
если переходят в
Those could be just people who are just starting in information security or want to upgrade their skills.
позитив,
Then they can
это старт, пройти
apply to Positive and take training under PT Start. And then
Недавно, кстати, к нам приходил один стажер, и по итогу
the good people will be offered employment. And
пишет вообще.
we have an intern who joined us recently, and he is in awareness, and he writes
Что касается
so greatly both articles and phishing letters.
Вот у тебя есть 3000
Okay,
безопасников.
Victor, you say you have 3,000 great information security guys.
Скучные специальности.
Dmitry says that there are boring specializations. So how do you motivate and retain those people? What do you mean boring?
У нас нет скучных специалистов.
We don't have boring specializations. Well, perhaps maybe more routine, more mundane ones. Well, everyone has routine.
как рекомендуют, типа, какой-то суперпроект, да, залетели в
And the common recommendation would be to join some super project.
ну, то есть,
You do it for a while and then you switch back to routine
да, но
tasks. The recommendation is to switch tasks from time to time.
этими вопросами будут заниматься мои техлиды, а не я.
But I hope my tech leads would look into that, not myself. I tend to
Должна развиваться.
set goals and objectives and
Это,
say
касается, вот, по
what the direction of development should be, and my guys would do the rest. And by the way, this is about leadership. Well, everyone seems to be a leader. The CISO is the leader. The engineers are the leaders. And who would be doing
люди действительно идут.
the work? And there are lower level leaders who lead the people on the ground.
Касается удержания.
The CISO is more of an overall authority. As for retention,
Если по-серьезному, у меня небольшая команда,
seriously, I have quite a small team at Positive.
и попрошайничаю по всей компании.
That is why I run around the company asking for advice or resources.
Я стараюсь больше внимания уделять
But I try to
своим лидам, да,
pay more attention to my leads.
задачи я с ними открыто обсуждаю.
If we discuss
Меры защиты, которые мы принимаем,
a task, I tell them that
разработку, как они повлияют на бизнес,
the
кто чем доволен.
security measures that we will implement, how they would influence the business. So I try to challenge people so that they looked not just from their side as technical people, but also
Касается сотрудников в целом,
so that they saw the business side of things.
позвольте, у нас небольшая команда, мы раз в месяц собираемся, прям вот все
And
все направления.
because we are quite a small team, once a month we get together and we share who has been doing what over this month's time. In architecture, in paperwork,
Эту историю внедряли, мне как посоветовали, я
what that is needed for. And when we were implementing this,
просто молчать, придет один
I was recommended that, and I was afraid. I thought that people would keep silent, that
все разбежались.
essentially only the leaders would speak, and it would last for an hour or two, and then people would
Как бы
go and
методолог рассказывает, что
do their own thing.
он
But it turns out to work quite well. The methodologist, for example, would
вот это
explain the paperwork that they did. Suddenly, the SOC person comes in and says, "Oh, we need this in situations like this." And this team building exercise
советую.
seemed to be quite effective for me, so I would recommend it.
Когда мы с Настей собирали в автокоманду,
When we and Nastya put together
0%.
a team, quite a unique one, because the turnover there was 0% over 4 years.
Общаясь с одним из кандидатов, он
And
спросил,
when talking to a candidate, he asked,
вот
"And what is your value? What is the value of security in a company?" And I
внутри компании разработали,
thought quite deeply about it.
мы сделали,
So much so that within the team we developed a manifesto
что мы делаем, как
where we explain the values, what we do,
полностью.
how we communicate.
Это был как этап и онбординга в том числе.
And that was partly onboarding,
Интервью к тому, что мы делаем для компании.
but also the person had an understanding right at the initial interview who we are and what we do.
Соответственно, развивать
And then we started gradually
взаимодействие,
developing
ходить общаться уже там с разработчиками.
cross-communication. We started talking to developers, to IT, to sales.
Есть, соответственно, там опыт построения различных,
We have experience of
друг друга.
building guilds
И
that
общаясь на тему там улучшения процессов разработки, они всегда позовут там
help each other develop.
обсеков, скажем,
Developers, for example, would leverage OPSEC guys and ask them,
и проектируя,
what's your view here? Or when designing a new service,
позовем вот ребят с экспертизы, они нам
it
дадут
is common to
проблемы.
invite
И
guys from other teams
формируется
to look for a better solution.
вид безопасника в компании,
And when there's a clear
начинает понимать, кто он, что
image of
делает, и для чего он все это
an information security
переходит в другой уровень.
professional in a company,
История про
It
встречи
proceeds to the next level.
ежемесячные. У нас были
I liked the idea of monthly
мы собирали
meetings. We had a format that we called SecTech Meet.
в манифесте,
We got together on a weekly basis, and the manifesto said what we were supposed to discuss. And if there was nothing to discuss, we just
кто чем живет, кто куда ездил.
had a free chat, what
Есть
the people are doing or have been doing,
каждый человек просто там брал в руки микрофон.
what events they went to.
И, соответственно, это помогало. Причем, более того, мы начали ходить, был технический МИД
And there was
IT-разработки, мы начали ходить к ним, они
technical meeting of development guys, and they started visiting us, and we started visiting them.
было
And that was stimulated cross-functionality.
безопасник, не только безопасник, хороший безопасник, когда он внедряет
You've got to understand that a good
безопасника,
security professional
он начинает немножечко как
implements security thinking
прозрачный security,
in employees.
да, который приносит тебе, заносит.
There is this idea of security, of growing security champions.
Ну, это может быть даже вот буквально бухгалтер, он тебе принесет, скажет, что тут проводку можно сделать.
And it could be an accountant
Подумать.
who would come up to you and say, look, I can record this operation
В прошлом опыте
in this and that way. And this
эти все
helped us a lot, and particularly Nastya. She built the processes between us. She built the values between us.
в том числе и с IT.
It was a very open dialogue
И после этого
with IT as well.
энергия родилась, после которой
And after that, we had such a level of synergy
КБ считает, что
that if IT and InfoSec believe that things should be done this way, it's very difficult to challenge. And gradually, we started to also leverage the business and HR, and suddenly
примерно одинаково, да.
everyone
Все начинали понимать
started
бизнес-инициативы, все начинали
to have
на тему, соответственно,
a similar thinking
клиентского пути.
in terms of services, in terms of the
Заносили с
customer journey.
точки зрения пользовательского пути не очень удобно.
And often
Когда такая
there were cases that information security guys would come and say, in terms of customer journey, it doesn't work quite well. I want to say a couple of things. I think it's about atmosphere and the openness from within. People didn't leave, and you said that there was zero turnover, and people were open with each other and discussed some issues and challenges openly. So if there's a conflict, then we're still open and discuss. If we need moderation, we get a moderator. And everyone is in one and the same information field. And this created an atmosphere of one team that you didn't want to leave. I have a question. When everyone addresses the same problem, do you not spend too much resources on that? No. Because sometimes a problem or a challenge is common. It's a matter of the level of an issue. Well, if it's a local issue, then yes, it wouldn't be addressed by everyone. Okay, clear. Victor, you wanted to add something? Yes, I wanted to say that
Здесь очень важно, если мы говорим про удержание, да, и решение
speaking of retention
внутри команды,
and resolving conflicts in a team,
подключен был HRBP.
it's important that HRBP was involved. A CISO is not a psychologist, and a psychologist
Выяснили, что там суицид, все
is needed. Yes, yesterday we discussed about suicide and other things. No, seriously, a company has an HRBP
как должна выглядеть
with whom you can work out all of this. How should communication with employees be structured? Whether there should be one-on-ones and how often? So a CISO is about security, but they also listen to other teams, and that's their value. They can come to other teams and say, look, I need help.
Окей, спасибо, ребят.
Thank
У
you.
нас время с вами сейчас заканчивается. поэтому
Guys, we're running out of time, so I'll ask a blitz question after all.
Вопрос у нас звучит следующим
And the blitz question is as follows.
Как будто бы ЦИСО — это венец развития.
It seems that CISO is the
Дмитрий, Виктор и Кирилл, в первую очередь
Top.
вопрос к вам.
point of development in InfoSec. But I have a question. What could be next? Well, from my personal experience, you can become a CTO, or you may think of starting your own business, a consultant business.
На этом венце развития можно остановиться.
But if you like it, you may still remain at that peak point.
можно стать вице-президентом.
Well, you could become a VP.
Можно.
Ну, на самом деле, это действительно круто, да, если взять
Seriously, it's quite cool.
начальник отдела,
Most of CISO positions are head of a
на уровне вице-президента,
team or head of a department.
с тобой общаться.
But if you become a VP, it means that the C-level treats you as equal. And from the experience of the previous speaker, that is great. There's still headroom to grow,
Не знаю, там
but it's a good place to be.
виноградники выращивать, там шашлыки,
Or you could
ферма, да.
go and grow grapes, or you could go and have a
Плохо все
goose farm.
Тут все зависит от человека, в какую сторону он
Well,
хочет.
it depends on the person,
Он может быть действительно стать
where they want to develop.
центром экспертизы, который
They may choose to become a center of excellence,
по сфере, по области, в которой может прийти там любой
who many people look to,
скажи там
or the business looks to,
проблему или помоги.
asking how to solve a particular issue or how to find the next CISO.
Еще позиция CISO, то есть Chief Security Officer, это когда
And there's this position of chief security officer, where the person is responsible with all things security, both information security, cyber security,
потому что управление там рисками третьих лиц, это
other types of security.
внутреннюю безопасность.
Because all these things are not too far away. For example, managing third-party risks is also about economic security,
Контроль.
and physical security is also, in fact, a related matter. So it's up to you what you want to do, who you want to be.
Спасибо, Кирилл. Спасибо, друзья. Я
Thank you.
не буду вам задавать этот вопрос.
Yaroslav and Anastasia, I won't ask this question
Не только у ЦИС.
of you. No, I wanted to say that such questions come not only to a CISO. When I
Потихоньку начинаешь
initially started my training, I was told that HR is not a good place to end up in. But at some point, you see that your importance in the company grows, and you can also teach and consult on this. So it is up to a particular individual of how they see their career track of growth. I would say that you become the heart of the company. Oh, yes, indeed. Okay, our time is up, but we have the time for questions.
Вопросики задать.
Can you please help us with the microphones?
А вон Никита
5 минут
тащит
буквально.
ручку, можно?
I was told
У нас буквально 2
I was told that we have time. We have some 2 minutes
Два вопроса.
for a couple of questions. Okay, we'll take 2 questions.
Добрый день, вопрос Виктору Гордееву.
Good afternoon. A question to Viktor Gordiev.
Компании топ, наверное, все в курсе какой, да?
You are
В своей компании
a CISO
безопасность.
at a well-known company.
Минут 10 назад сказали, что вы
Some 10 minutes ago, you said that you
авторитет,
are
управление, менеджмент, родственные понятия.
a person of authority, and authority and leadership
Процесс, ну, governance.
are very close notions, and they all unite in the notion of governance. So my question is this:
Утверждаете,
how do you
может быть, давите своим авторитетом на ваших
leverage your authority
контрагентов внутри компании? Как вы подтверждаете
inside the company?
такой авторитет для
How do you prove your authority? What is authority for you?
ваша основная, собственно, роль?
I think it's an important, it's a crucial part of your role.
Погрузиться в
How do you make sure that you have authority? You can't dive deeply into technical details. No, certainly you don't want to run around and start arguments or fights with people.
Общение на равных, когда
Rather, it's about treating people equally.
бизнес-владельцу
When you approach your counterparts, a business owner perhaps,
вы
and you treat
проблему предложить
them equally. You are ready to listen to them, come up with some solution. They are ready to listen to what you have to offer, but you don't push people to do it the only right way, which is your way.
авторитет, да, вот там, с
And then
человеком я готов общаться с этим.
you get the trust and relationship, but with some people it's easier to communicate. With others, you need others. Well, is CISO a psychologist? Well, I think CISO is more of a negotiator or a crisis manager. It comes with experience.
Ты уже работаешь.
It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and suddenly you're a CISO. That's how it works.
Давайте еще один вопрос.
Okay, one more question.
Сначала сюда передать микрофон. Спасибо.
Here in the front row.
Спасибо, ребят, всем. Такой вопрос. Вот CISO создает, ну, по сути, C-level.
Thank you very much. My question is this. CISO is essentially a C-level, and they create an environment where
Что делать?
security would sort of develop on its own. And currently,
Текущие вот джуны, которые приходят, их
there's this trend that
на уровне
the juniors who join you have the level of a middle-level employee 5 years ago, and they understand that. But
свои текущие лиды учились уже становиться чуть выше, учились делегировать, для них это самое сложное.
your leaders should learn to your leads should learn to delegate,
Да, уже какого-то маленького направления.
and you've got to find the candidates to become leads in your teams. So how do you create an environment where people could where you can grow people and where people can grow?
Практика заместителей работает очень отлично.
Well,
Особенно, знаешь, когда
deputies
CISO, у тебя там 2 человека в подчинении,
work well.
просто, ну, надо тебя заместить.
If you are a CISO and you only have 2 people reporting to you, you need a deputy, and you go on vacation, and the person sort of has the level of responsibility that you normally have.
Кто-то там за медла остается, кто-то берет
And
фронт, пул, там,
anyone can be a deputy. Some can deputize for the mid-level employee,
ответственность,
Others
соответственно, твоя
take the responsibility to manage your whole team when you're away and take decisions in your place.
своих лидов давал
Perhaps the most interesting case that I had was that I gave one of my leads an opportunity to write a strategy. And I asked him, can you write a strategy?
А теперь сходим к бизнесу, давай посмотрим, кто вообще.
And I tell him, look, I don't quite understand what's in there. Let's approach the business and
Смотрите, я
let's ask them, okay, we've run out of time. I see that there are questions about teams and mentoring, and it's good that our next speaker will be Olga Yeliseyeva, who would
Окей, тогда я завершающее слово говорю. Ребят,
speak about this. Okay, so a final word from me. Thank you for this panel. And for those who want to grow from experts to C-level, we are launching a program this year at Positive. You're welcome to join the Positive Education booth, which is in Sector A.
спасибо, ребят.
And with that, all the best to you.